family. Thank you so much again, guys, for making it beautifully flawed. And of course, I'm your girl RB. I am back with another video for you. Now, this is a slay, honey. This one is definitely a slay. And if you want to see how I accomplished this slay today, you gotta jump straight on into the video. But before you do so, don't forget, guys, subscribe, like, share, comment. Guys, thank you for keeping. Hey, honeys. Guys, welcome back. I am so happy to be sitting in front of this camera right now. Well, then I'm doing a voiceover, obviously, but you guys get what I'm trying to say to you. It has been a little while, I won't lie, and I really missed you guys, and there's so many things that prevented me from doing so, but I will try my utmost best, guys, to be here with you. All right, so of course I'm going to be showing you guys, it's all about the eyes today. This tutorial is not about foundation, but solely about the eyes. So I'm using my Jordana retractable pen in the shade Lavish Brown. It's a dark brown, and I'm going to be outlining bottom of my brow, and then I'll be going on top of the brow. And this is to get you're either going over the shape of your own brow, or you're actually creating the shape that you desire. Alright, so I will be now using the spoolie. This is a spoolie by James Charles, and I'm just really removing any excess product that I have in the brow, because you don't want it to look too caked. You already want it to have product there to fill the bald areas or the areas that are sparse. However, you don't want it to look as if there's too many products in there. Okay, so afterwards I will be using my fawn to get the brow tidied up, and also to give it that sharp look, like that of someone who just shaved their brows. Now, ladies, let's just have a bit of conversation. No, guys, I really loved this look, because I sat, whilst I was not here doing anything, I was brooding about giving you guys something that I know that you will like, and also something that I know I'd be proud of, and I'm so proud of this look. I've never ever done this type of look before, and so I was really excited to have it executed. But yes, of course, using a light hand or using a free hand, I'm just going beneath the brow, and I always start at the very front of my brows. Some persons will start in the very arch, and that's not to say it's wrong. Never ever think it's wrong, because it's makeup. It's the methodology that works for you. I'm not sure if I actually said that word correctly, but I know how to spell it, which is important. Okay, so I'm just cleaning up below the brow bone, guys, to get it sharp, because you want to get as sharp of a brow as possible and to make it as highlighted as possible. Yeah, and I'm using, of course, my brush, my deluxe crease brush by Real Techniques. As you ladies would know by now, if not yet found a replacement, or if I'm gonna replace it, I'm guessing it's going to be in the Real Techniques family, because I am in love with this brush set, and it's also very affordable. So of course I'm using my trusty black opal in the shade Carob, and this is just a shade lighter than my complexion, and so I'm just using it to clean the top of my brow. And the reason I use this, I like the conceal. It's not just close enough to my complexion, but I like the consistency. It's not, this is the foundation, it's not the concealer, it's the foundation, but the consistency is just perfect for gliding along my skin. So it's not too liquidy, it's just perfect. And let me also say, guys, I know some persons will not always approve of the shape of my brow because I've been told as such. But let me point this out to you, ladies. If this is how you are comfortable, whatever way is comfortable, rather for you guys to wear your makeup, whether it's foundation, whether it's concealer, whether it's the shaping of your brows, ladies, be encouraged. It's what you like. Foundation, makeup, is about expressing yourself. And it's an art that allows one to express yourself. And this is how I like my brow. If you like yours with the tail much skinnier, that is fine. If you like your brows much skinnier as well, that is also fine. But if you like your brows as thick as I like mine, that too is fine as well. Now I'm using my LA Pro Conceal in the shade Natural, and I decided to use a lighter shade because I'm about to lay down on my lid some colors that are light, and I want for my pink to pull through or push through without any interference of there being like a darker color beneath to give it a bit of a muck look, or for it to change the shade of the pink, that is. So I'm just going over my lids because I want to make sure my lids are actually properly buffed out. I don't want there to be any product that's not flat on my lid because this will interfere with how your shadows turn out. Anything that is not that is not properly buffed out will create a problem for your shadows. You want to make sure you give yourself a smooth canvas to place your shadows on. So I just touched my lid as you can see, and it's not dried down enough, and using the brush also helps me in that process as well. All right, so I am about now to lay down my shade. As you can see, I did not set. Okay, I did not set. In previous videos, I would set the foundation, but I chose not to this time. Ladies, if you do have lids that produce oils, you want to go ahead and set. Setting prevents your shadows from actually breaking apart, or prevents your shadows from not lasting you throughout the day. All right, I'm using here a large pencil brush or a detailer brush, and I'm just using it. I chose to use this brush because it's exact. It allows me to lay down my shade exact, and as you guys can see, I started from the inner portion of my eyes because of the cut that I want to do. All right, so the cut won't actually be a full cut crease. It's more of, what I say, inverted cut crease. I'm not sure of the term that you'll give to it, but you guys will actually see what I'm doing as the video progresses, and I will be cutting the crease. So I'm just laying this right there in my crease and just going above, because I want you to be able to pick up on the shades when I go ahead and actually have that crease cut. All right, and I'm also packing the shade to get a very, very rich payoff. Guys, so I'm using here from the Warrior 3 palette. I'm using the shade called Fenty. Now it's that light pink shade that's in the palette, and that is what I'm using. So I'm just using this. I'm just laying it directly on atop that first shade that I laid down, and this will, number one, help me to blend out, because I will be doing that in a short while, but this will also help me to blend out the first shade, as well as to give me a gradient look you guys will always hear me use this phrase, the gradient look. That's what I like in eyeshadows. I like when it transitions from the light to from a light color straight down to a darker color. And I'm using that shade. It's a very light pink shade. It's really, really light in pink, but it's just not picking up on the camera. But it's the 35N palette, and it's the light pink in the palette. So I'm just using a large shader brush, and I'm resting it on atop the first shade. On camera, it looks as if I don't the previous shade is lost, but it really isn't. However, I will be going back and forth between all three shades, so it's more richer. And as the shadows progress, I want you guys to be able to see the gradient look that I'm talking about. Alright, so I'm just going back, guys, into the first shade. I'm picking up shadows on the brush, and I'm also blending out. So I'm making sure that I get the payoff that I'm looking for, as well as to get it blended out. And I'm just going back and forth, guys, to give me the build up and also to get the shadows to be blended. Now, guys, I'm just using a smaller shader brush, and I'm going in that shade, and I'm just, of course, reinforcing the shade. So I'm taking that deep berry shade from the berry palette, and I'm putting it this now directly in my crease. And of course, I will be blending it out, taking it a bit higher, because of course, cutting the crease, you want to have that vast difference between the shade that's going to be on the lid as well as the shade that is above the cut that you're about to do. And of course, again, ladies, I'm just going back and forth between both shades, because I really, really want it to be blended, and I don't want there to be any harsh lines. I just want you guys to be able to see the shades transitioning into each other, you'd say. Yes, see the shades transitioning. And I'm using that Ruby Kiss brush to blend everything together. I'm not mucking anything. I'm using it to blend as well, and it was a clean brush. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in that very, very last shade that I'd used closer to my brow bone, and I'm coming in front. I'm starting from the front area because I want for it to look a bit soft. So I'm actually softening the front of the eyeshadow for it not to look harsh. So here is the fun part. So guys, I'm using here, of course, the one and only All About the Base by J.CAT, and it's in the shade Nude. And I'm taking my time, guys, because I didn't want it to be all messy, because I'd have to start over the process, and it was not easy. And of course, I'm babysitting. What is my child? Duh. So I'm just outlining the shape of that cut that I want. And guys, as I said, it was the first time that I was actually doing something like this, and I loved how it came out. Really, really love how it came out. So I'm just outlining, as I said before, and I'll just be going back and forth to get that cut as sharp as I can. as I said, I loved it. I really loved it. Let me also point out to you guys, doing a cut crease, listen, it can cause you to be nervous. You don't need to rush it. You don't need to rush it, all right? Don't think you need to be so pro that you have to do it quick. Even sometimes I am nervous doing it, especially if you've put in work as it relates to blending your shadows and cutting. You just don't want it to be messy. You don't want to get it all messy. You want to get it as clean and precise as possible. Now here, ladies, I knew what I wanted to do, but I was about to change my mind. As you can see, I basically got another idea on spot, and I was a bit hesitant to do the look that I had in mind, but later on you guys will see that I actually went ahead and do the look that I had in mind, because I was gonna actually leave that section that's with the purple there. I had something else to do, so leave that cut right there, do that pink shade that I had in mind, and so on and so forth. But I went ahead and I did the original as I had planned. Right, ladies, so I'm just going in and buffing out my lid, making sure that if there's any excess liquid, or sorry, any excess product rather, on my lid, I'm using my brush to buff that out, and also to get myself a smooth canvas to lay my I don't know what's with me and foundation, but to lay down my eyeshadows on. So you're gonna take here on a cotton swab some Vaseline, and you're just gonna use it to clean or to shape how you want the eyes to look. I could have used tape here. I could not for the life of me locate any tape, but I think I pretty much loved how it turned out just the same. So if you are unable to do this part here, you can actually go ahead and lay down some tape, and the tape will give you that nice clean edge, sharp edge that you would want for this particular look. So yes, I'm going back into the Morphe 35N palette, and I'm using that large shader brush, and I'm just patting it onto my lid. The color is not showing as bright as it actually is on the camera, but I promise you it was a very, very, very nice pink. It was matted. It was not too dark, it was not too light. It was really, really complementing the look overall. So just going ahead and I'm just patting it down on my lid, because you do not want to go in with a hand that is too heavy. You don't want to disturb your concealer or your base underneath. Okay, so back into that berry palette. I love this palette. Like, I realized I'm always using it. I'm always using it, and I was never a pink person. And for me to be using pink this much, I'm in love. Alright, so I'm using that detailer brush, and I'm basically giving myself, shaping out a liner. I chose eyeshadows because I'm going to be doing like a smoky look, and I don't think the eyeliner would give me the results that I'm looking for. You could probably try a liner if you like, but I know for sure the look that I was going for, the liner would not have given me. Alright, so it's up to you, ladies. Whatever you choose to do, it's makeup. You are allowed to be expressive. You are allowed to experiment, because what I'm doing here, I only had the vision, and then I decided to try my hands at it, and I really loved it. So it's all about trying something, and if it works for you, it works. If it doesn't, hey, try something new. Yes, so I'm basically using that brush here to outline my liner area, and I really like the size of this brush because it's as if I'm using a pen or a pencil. Yes, it's as if I'm using a pen or a pencil. And the shade is a bit brighter in reality than it is on camera. So just explaining that part for you guys to understand. Yes, so going back into the berries palette, I'm using that dark berry shade there, and this is to create, as I said to you before, I'm looking a smoke-like effect, and using these colors definitely gave me what I had in mind, and I loved it. I just wish the camera would show as bright. But I promise you guys, I'm using my phone. I promise that in future I will be getting for myself a camera. I'm just working with my phone for now. And you know what? I actually wanted to start YouTube a long time ago. But because I thought, oh, I don't have a camera, I cannot start now. Ladies, never talk yourself out of doing something. Never ever talk yourself out of doing something. We'll make excuses until we actually talk ourselves out of doing something that it's not as hard as we thought it was before. So that's what I had to do New Year's, and here I am. This is my 8th or so video. Yes, using my phone. Alright, so I'm using a smaller pencil or detailer brush, and right there, that's right. So I'm just showing you ladies how it looked. Alright, so this brush is very, very good for doing things like this. You are able to, it allows it to be more precise. It allows it to be more precise, and it also helps you to contain your eyeshadow in a set or a particular area. Now I'm using the shade called Fenty from the Warrior 3 palette, and I'm just using it atop. I'm just using it. That's right. So that's the shade. That was actually the second shade that I'd use on my in the area where I'd had to cut. However, back to what I was saying, I'm using a small shader brush, and I'm just resting this atop the shade that I laid down first. It will get onto the other shades, but no worries, you can always go back. As I said, if you have to go to and fro to get your color build up, that is also fine. So this is I'm basically blowing out the shades so I can get that smoky effect. And ladies, I cannot say this enough. I love it. I loved how it turned out. I really, really am in love with how it turned out. Alright, so because I don't want that dark color to be too faint, I'm going to be going back in this time with a flat shadow brush, and I'm just using it to intensify as well as to blend that shade into the pink shade from the first pink shade from the Berries palette. Now I will be highlighting the inner portion of my eyes, and I'm using my Eyes and Cheek palette by Profusion, and the shade that I'm using is called Chatty. Now this is a shimmer. It's sort of like a champagne iridescent shade, and it cause the inner portion of my eyes to pop. And a trick that I always use is this is how the light hits me. So where I laid that down, that's how the light hits my face, and that part of my eyes is where the light always hits and it bounces back. So that's where I always highlight. Now, of course, as I said, it's all about the eyes, and so I'm basically showing you guys me putting on my lash on camera. I'm using the Ardell lash. I use the Ardell lash adhesive to apply my lashes, and you want to make sure upon doing so you apply your lash glue and allow it to dry for 30 seconds or more, and you look down in your mirror. That's how I do it anyways, and it always works for me. Okay, so of course I skipped the foundation part, and I'm just repeating my colors on the bottom of my lid. So I'm using the Berries shade, that bright pink from the Berries palette, and that's the first shade that I am using. And then of course I should be showing you guys in a second the shades. That's right, those two shades. So I'm about to use the last shade using that small pencil brush, and I'm just applying it directly below the shade that I applied first. Yeah. And voila! And this, ladies, is the reveal. Thank you, ladies, so much for sticking around, and do enjoy until we meet again.